Hi guys, this is Robin from CookingMexicanRecipes.com, and today I am, at the request of a visitor to my website, making restaurant salsa. Now, this is a recipe that you'll find in a lot of Mexican restaurants, and it's very simple. You can make it any time of year because I'm going to be using some canned ingredients. So let's go over our ingredients. The first thing we're going to need is some fire roasted tomatoes. I've got a 28-ounce can here, and I like to use the fire roasted because the flavor is just a little bit better. It gives it a little extra something. The next thing we're going to need is a small can, about 4 ounces of diced green chilies, and I'm going to drain those so that the extra liquid doesn't make our salsa too runny. Here I've got about a quarter of a cup of sweet yellow onion, and I diced it to the size that I want it to be. And we're going to use some cayenne pepper to taste, so if you like it really spicy, you're going to want to add more of that. We're going to need some ground cumin, be a little pinch of that. We've got a couple of fresh jalapeno peppers, and again, if you want to add a little extra heat, when you chop those up, you can leave the seeds in and you'll get a little hotter pepper. We'll also need a quarter teaspoon of some sugar, and here I've got some salt. We'll just add that to taste. And I've roasted some fresh garlic in the oven, and I'll show you how to do that a little bit later. And the last thing we're going to need is some fresh cilantro chopped up. The first thing we want to start with this recipe is roasting our garlic, because that's going to take us about an hour to roast in the oven. So we want to start that right away, and what we want to do is take your garlic and cut off the top section so you expose all of the garlic cloves like that. Okay, then I've got a piece of foil, and I'm going to place it on there, and then I'm just going to drizzle it with some olive oil like this. Try not to pour too much. I just want to cover all of the cloves, and then just basically just seal it up like a little tent. So I'm going to seal that up, all the edges. And what I'm going to do is pop this in the oven at 375 degrees, and I'm going to roast it, and I'm going to check it in about an hour. When you go to check it, make sure you open it carefully because the steam's going to come out and it's going to be hot. But look for your cloves to be nice and golden brown. Our next step is to chop up our jalapenos. I want to show you how to do this so that you don't burn yourself. So cut off the stem, and then we're going to cut it. I'm going to cut it in half lengthwise, like that, and you can see all the seeds in here and the membrane, and now that's where all the heat is, and I'm a wimp, so I usually take all of that out. So I think the best way to do this is maybe cut it in half again, and then you can sort of take your knife and just kind of scrape out the seeds, assuming you don't want them in there. Okay, so now we just want to line everything up together and just start mincing the pepper. You want to make sure that while you're doing all this, you don't touch your eyes or even your face until you've washed your hands, because the oils from the pepper can really burn. So I like to chop this up nice and fine so you don't end up with any really big chunks, but that's my preference. Now we're ready to put everything together. So we're going to put it into our food processor here. I'm going to pour in the tomatoes and hopefully not splash all over. Okay, I'm going to add that. Now I'm only going to add certain ingredients here. So I've got the tomato, the diced green chilies. I'm going to add that. My jalapenos. Got that in there. Now I've got my quarter teaspoon of sugar, just to sweeten it just a little bit. I'm going to add a pinch of salt at this point, and then we may add more later. And I'm going to add just a little bit, another pinch of the ground cumin. All right, just a little bit of that. And I'm going to leave out the cayenne pepper because I'm going to go a little lighter on that today. Now the last thing I'm going to add to this is the garlic. Now this is going to be a little more challenging to get out, so I like to use a knife, and I just kind of poke out the cloves, And I'm going to use the whole darn thing if I can get it all in there. And if it gets really difficult to get these out, then you just want to squeeze it, and that's when it gets messy, gooey, and all kinds of stuff. All right, so let's scrape those in there, and yes, it seems like a lot of garlic, but I love garlic, so we're going to get them all in. So now I'm squeezing it out because I can't get all the cloves out, and it gets all icky gooey. And get your fingers in it, and your fingers start to smell, and I do have a way to get rid of that smell that works really well, and I'll show you that in just a second. I think that's all I'm going to get in there. Okay. So here's my little tip on how to get rid of the garlic. Run cold water and get a nice stainless steel spoon. I'll turn this down a little bit. And run your fingers over the spoon under the cold water, like you're rubbing the spoon all over the smelly area. And it removes the smell. It's amazing how well it works. You got to give it a try. All right, now we're going to just pulse until we get it as smooth as we want it. Now, if you notice, I haven't added the onions yet because I don't want to make them all, I don't want to get a lot of the juice out of the onion. I just want it to be in there. So that's why I'm not putting it in the food processor. Okay, that should do it for me. All right, so now we're going to just pour the salsa into another bowl and combine and add the onion and the cilantro. Now we're going to add the onion, and it'll stay nice and firm. And I've got a little bit of cilantro we're going to throw in there, just as much as you like. I'm going to stir this up, and we'll be ready for a taste test. So there you have it, restaurant salsa, very simple. Now I have a special guest today that I want to bring on. It's my niece, and she came over while I was filming, and so she's going to be my little taste tester today. So go ahead, Leslie, give it a shot. What do you?
That's so good.
Anyway,
it is.
Good. I'm glad you liked it.
And
you can make I'll let you because you're my niece. Anyway, I hope you'll give this recipe a try. It's very good. You can make it any time of year. It doesn't have to be summer. Any time will work because it's canned tomatoes. So thanks for stopping by, and be sure and stop by my website at cookingmexicanrecipes.com, and thanks for watching. No, this is
delicious.
I happen to have a special guest today. What are you folks? Forget the flowers, will ya?